I'm Sam.
And I'm Greg.
We're human beings. And we like movies.
We'll be doing reviews of brand new releases,
Old classics,
entire sagas,
and even TV shows and video games.
This is Reaction Time.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 69 of Reaction Time podcast.
Nice.
Nice. 69, you guys. This is going to be the best episode ever.
This is how you know we've really made it.
Yeah. Honestly, first of all, 69 weeks is a long time. And it's been even longer than that because we've missed some weeks. But also, 69 is great.
Couple. It's great.
Yeah. We are going to wine and dine you guys tonight with...
We're going to be listening to an episode called Gran Turismo.
Well, we're going to be reviewing it. We're going to be listening to it.
Everything to do with that number.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Gran Turismo is a movie that came out Did it come out last year or early this year?
No, it was last year.
It was last year. Okay.
It was definitely last year.
My concept of time is failing me at best. So
I think it was last year.
Yeah, you're probably right. But yeah. So Gran Turismo, starring that guy I know from that Apple TV Plus show called C, and some Orlando Bloom, and some Jim Hopper.
The main guy?
Yeah.
Because I've never seen him before.
Yeah, I only know him from one thing. Actually,
Archie.
He might be in two things. I'm trying to remember if I've seen him. Yeah, what's his name?
Archie Maddoquey. Saltburn, which you didn't watch.
Saltburn, which I didn't watch. Archie
Midsummer, which you definitely didn't watch.
I have seen Midsummer.
Oh, then yeah, he's in that.
That movie terrified me. Oh, I thought there was a different one, but maybe I'm thinking of something else.
No.
But yeah, so, and then Orlando Bloom coming out of, retirement?
Has to be something.
For this movie, because the last movie I saw him in was Pirates of the Caribbean, 3. So where has he been?
Yeah, that was me too.
For the last 15 years.
I don't know.
At least. I have no idea where that guy's been.
He does not look good anymore, sadly. His age is now showing.
He looks okay, but...
Yeah.
I don't think he's... he's married to Katy Perry, so good for him. Or engaged, at least, to Katy Perry.
I guess you could say that.
So, for 5 years, good for him.
Ooh, The Hobbit. The newest Hobbit. He was in that.
Okay, whatever. That barely counts. He was
in the newest Pirates of the Caribbean, but I never saw it.
Was he really? Nobody saw that movie.
Yeah. So, I didn't see the fifth one.
Well, okay, fine. Fine, he's done some stuff.
So, what do you think of this movie?
Much out of the zeitgeist.
100%.
Yeah. I enjoyed this movie. I kind of expected to enjoy it. And then when the movie started, the first, maybe, 15 to 25 minutes after about that time, I was like, oh, is this movie going to be kind of boring? Is it going to be more... Obviously, every movie is story-driven in a way, right? But I was like, is it going to be more kind of just story and talking and all this kind of stuff? Because I kind of wanted some driving and action and kind of that feel.
Right.
So after that, I was like, oh, is this movie going to be kind of boring? The acting was fine. I think it was maybe the pacing and the writing was weird at the beginning. Uh-huh. And I was like, oh, maybe not. And then honestly, once they kick off with driving the cars, I enjoyed it quite a bit from then on out. There was a lot of plot things that I was it was a mixed bag, but I cared a lot less about those once I actually got to see the cars being driven. So I liked it.
And they show the cars.
And they show the cars.
All the parts of the cars.
Yes. No Challengers, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, maybe next time. What did you think?
They just had too many Nissans.
I know. Nissan.
No,
Nissan.
Nissan. I've always called it Nissan. Am I wrong?
Well, it's America. We call it Nissan in America. Even in their commercials, I believe they say Nissan. But then,
okay.
For the Brits, call it Nissan. And then I have no idea what the Japanese call it.
So
Nissan.
Nissan.
That's probably.
I will.
Don't cancel us. We're trying
I will
our best.
say that it definitely. It was It started faster than I was expecting. Like, it didn't take too long before the tournament was there.
Yeah.
Which I was glad about. Because I thought it was going to be like a bunch of just boring, monotonous.
No, that's true. My only
stuff.
thing with that is it's a mixed bag for me because the pacing was. I'm glad they got to that fast, but I'm also able to recognize that I think they got there way too fast. So it's, or maybe the way they got there was just paced too fast. So it is weird because I'm glad they did it, but I'm also sad about the way they did it. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, as soon as they started going, I mean, this was like a 2.5 hour movie.
It's a long movie,
which I did not realize.
Yeah,
and it definitely didn't feel like 2.5 hours.
No,
like I was having fun.
Yeah, after the weird pacing at the beginning, the pacing I think was totally fine through the rest of the movie.
Yeah,
and it was. I think it was really well made. It was a cool
there's
movie.
some cool visual treats.
Yeah,
I mean, they're just as he's like racing, it keeps showing like above the cars like what number he is.
Yeah,
and,
some really interesting choices that were definitely pulled from the game.
Yeah.
Which I've only played like once, but but yeah, definitely some cool visual stuff. Basically, if you're listening to this and you have no idea what we're talking about, Gran Turismo, the movie, actually, I think technically the title of the movie is Gran Turismo based on a true story. If I'm not...
Oh.
I could be wrong about that, but I believe that's what it's called. Maybe not. That's what it was called on
Gran
Netflix
Turismo,
or something. But okay. Anyway, the movie is based off of a true story of a kid who played the Gran Turismo video game, which maybe not most. A lot of the high-level players would play in more of a simulator setup in the room with like the pedals, wheels, everything. You can obviously play it with a controller, but it was a lot more of a simulator, a very good. And they talk about this in the movie where it's less of a game and it really is truly more of a simulator because it's so well made. And I don't know if this part's true, but as a marketing stunt, Nissan basically wants to find the best drivers, the best simulator drivers in the world and bring them into actual race car driving.
Yeah.
Basically. And so they find, this kid, he's the best in the world and wins the tournament, wins, all this stuff and then drives for Nissan. So
yeah.
Basically,
it's like 9 people from a bunch of different countries.
Yeah,
and it's all the people that had like the fastest laps on like certain maps, and then they had them race, and then it was those top people from each country that got the opportunity to race the real cars, and then those people go against each other with the real cars to pick the winner. I guess it's 10 people.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, overall, I think this movie was exciting.
Yeah.
Like really exciting. It was fun to watch. It was pretty... They did a good job with kind of tension and adrenaline and kind of all of the emotions you'd expect from a racing movie, kind of, with some added things in there that wouldn't be in a normal racing movie because most racing movies are about people who have raced before, and this is a racing movie about somebody who technically has not.
Yeah, so he's never raced a real car ever.
Yeah, apparently the fastest car he had ever driven was like a Geo Metro that his dad had or whatever that car was. So, so it's a cool story.
I give it an 8.5. Like just a solid 8.5.
Yeah, I was thinking a similar number. I haven't decided my number, but the first portion of the movie, I was like, oh, this movie's going to be maybe high 6s, low 7s. But then after I finished the movie, I was thinking kind of mid 8s, so probably 8.7, because there's so much in the core of the movie, kind of from minute 45 to 2 hours, 2:15. It's so good. I think right there,
it's so good.
It's a very good movie.
It keeps you hooked.
Yeah, it does keep you hooked very well. And I think the beginning, you can't just cut out the beginning either Because
No.
it tells you, they just really quickly tell you everything you need to know to get to the fun part of the movie.
Yeah.
Which is fine, right? There's almost
It's
not a perfect
perfect.
way to do that. So they
No.
did a good job.
I think they did well enough where they didn't just sit on it for so long.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they didn't waste time on it, I think.
no. And and by the end of it, some of the character development still worked for me, even though it was so fast at the beginning. They did do it well enough. It's kind of your typical story, right? The dad is like, you're playing too much video games. You need to go play sports or get a real job.
It's your typical almost Disney Channel movie. Like, this is my dream, that's your dream, Dad, not mine. Is that exact story from every movie like that?
This is a high budget Disney Channel original movie.
100%. Yeah. Super high budget.
Which some Disney Channel original movies are pretty fantastic.
That's true.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
This is pre-High School Musical Disney Channel original movies.
Yeah, for sure.
Where they were still pretty good.
Okay, well, let's not get too into High School Musical here because there's some debate there about whether it's good or not. Okay.
Oh, man.
But yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
So, do you want to get into some spoilers? It's based off of a true story, and it's kind of probably everything you expect, but there's still some stuff that would be fun to see in real time.
And there's some stuff that I didn't realize was going to happen.
Yeah. Did you, by chance, read up on the actual story at all?
Kind of.
Okay.
Not like a ton. Did you?
Yeah. I did a little bit, but not a ton. I kind of read a very quick article about what was dramatized, what actually happened, how they changed some stuff, but it was pretty short. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The coolest thing about this movie, real quick, is that the guy that this is actually based on, it was his own stunt driver in this movie. That's the coolest.
That is so cool.
Coolest detail.
That's one of the coolest things that they put at the very end there.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, that's awesome.
It's amazing. It's so cool. Yeah. Okay.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Let's jump into spoilers. So go ahead and head over to our socials. Look us up on TikTok, Instagram, X, Patreon, YouTube. That's pretty much it. And podcasts, Apple Podcasts and Spotify, obviously.
Yeah, all the podcast stuff. If you're watching this on the day that it comes out, our grand finale for the MCU tournament will be happening. So make sure we're getting down, dude.
It's been fun to watch.
It's been fun.
And I've had some hot takes that I've voted on, and I'm not ashamed at all. Okay, so we're going to get into spoilers now.
Yeah, let's do visuals. Okay, I have one thing.
Okay.
So, I'm not the smartest person in the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that.
Yeah. That's what I would probably first, if somebody asked me about you, that's the first thing I'd say. Hey, what do you guys know about Craig? Not the smartest guy in the world.
Not the smartest guy in the world.
Let's lead off with that. Even though literally, I kid you not, yesterday I was telling Courtney about how smart you are. I was like,
oh, really?
I was like, Craig is so smart and he knows all these formulas in Excel.
Oh.
But yeah, anyway, okay. Not the smartest guy in the world.
Formulas in Excel, then I'm definitely not that smart. So pretty much at the beginning, so there's the brother, there's the main guy, there's his brother, there's a dad, and there's a mom.
Yeah.
And the brother's like, the love child that is playing sports and is the good kid, you think.
Yeah.
And he goes to the brother and he's like, hey, let's go to this little get together that's under a bridge or something. And
yeah,
they got a little can of fire, and the cops come and they're like, oh, put out the fire. And they pour all of their beer and alcohol on there.
Yeah.
I don't understand fully, but wouldn't that be the exact opposite of what you would want to do in life?
And then I think I probably had the exact same thought process as you, because then I go, I have no idea how alcoholic beer is. Is the low, because I think beer is a lower alcohol percentage than
it is
than hard liquor. So
Yeah.
maybe because it's mostly like non-flammable liquid, it would work. I'm now tempted to go buy literally my first beer and dump it onto a fire just to
Fire
see.
and just see what it does.
Because if we should start testing these things, because now this will be 2 weeks in a row where there's a fire stunt that is incorrect. So I'll do the beer one, and then you go ahead and do the
pour me in
spitting gasoline. Yeah.
Yeah, and pour some in my mouth and let's light me on fire and see what happens.
And then I'll pour beer on it to try to get it off of you. Deal. That sounds like a good deal. Yeah,
man.
that I wasn't sure about.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it's a good point. It's a good point. So I think that is kind of when then they escape, right? They escape in their dad's junky car. And that's when you start to see the visual effects of them putting what's actually happening into the perspective that you would have in the video game, where you're kind of behind and above your car and you see it like that. It's so fun when they first do that with that really junky car, and they give you like some stats and some little graphics and just stuff
wins
like
little
that.
trophies and stuff.
Yeah, little trophy. So it's it's very clever. It's really cool. It almost gave me like a little bit of a game night thing.
Yeah.
Although game
100%.
night's more of a stylistic thing, where this is more of this is how it looks in the video game, kind of. It is stylistic, but kind of similar.
A different
feel.
stylistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like them unlocking the achievements. I was actually hoping they were going to continue to do that. I
know,
a little
I thought
sad
that would have
it was
been cool
only right at
in-
the beginning.
Yeah, it would have been cool in the races.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, that was a cool scene.
Okay. So we started with I'm not the smartest person in the world. So I know little about like professional racing, whether it's NASCAR or Formula One. I didn't even know there was a difference. Okay.
And this is neither of those.
And this is neither of those. So there are some really cool things that I didn't realize, which is having the car on like wheels and bringing it up to the starting line before actually putting on the tires.
Oh yeah.
Which is just cool. I'm assuming that's to like help prevent any kind of wear or anything on the tires before they start going. The red and white squares on the edge, they're all angled. Is that just like to show you so that the like people know that they're on the edge?
The red and white squares?
Yeah, they're just like red and white square. Like it's just hundreds of them going along the track.
Oh, I have no idea.
But they're all angled.
I don't know.
Almost like, you know, on the freeway
Yeah.
where you've got the bumps to like wake you up.
Yeah.
I didn't know if they were angled to like let you know that, oh, you're on the very edge of it.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's anything that I can pull up really fast. Boom. No, I don't know. It's going to take me too long to look it up. I would look it up though.
Weird. Okay.
So probably my favorite thing that they do in this movie visually, which they do maybe 3 or 4 times, is whether he's driving in his simulator or if he's driving in the car, they will piece by piece, little individual piece by piece, separate the entire car until you just see him sitting. And it's just like, so he's driving like a real car, and then every single piece flies off kind of in slow motion. Almost not like it's flying off, but it's just being taken apart, like dissected, you know, in a CAD file or whatever. And then it's just him sitting in the chair and him racing in the simulator and all this stuff. And then it all comes back together, and it's seamless.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool. And I don't know, you know, if there's just a little quick kind of a jump cut, you know, when the car gets put back together to actual footage, or if everything after that is CG or what, but it
could be.
It's a very cool detail.
Because there were some parts where they would do kind of like a top down of the cars racing.
Yeah.
And sometimes I was like, oh, that's CGI. And there were some times where I was like, is that CGI?
It's
because
hard.
What does that look like? They're going 300 miles an hour.
Exactly. It's hard when you're that far, when the cars are that small.
Yeah.
At this point, it's indistinguishable, basically. Like, you wouldn't know either way.
So it was probably CGI, because there were some times where, like, it would do, like, a close-up of his car, and there was a car behind him, and I was like, that looks just a teeny bit off.
Yeah.
And I assumed it was just CGI. Maybe it's just because of how fast they're going, it just looks off. Mm-hmm. But then when he said he did all the stunts, I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if they raced all of these things and filmed them, or if they CGI'd some cars.
My thing is, there's so much driving in this that I'm 99% sure is practical, that I almost think that almost all of the driving was practical anyway.
Yeah.
You know? But I don't know. It'd be good to know.
That was cool, though, when it all broke up.
When it all breaks apart. It's so cool. And then it comes back together and he just takes off. It's really cool. It's a good detail.
Yeah. I liked how they kept on a lot of, like, the laps. They would stop and be like, 4th lap, 10th place, or something like that.
Yeah.
Just like cool little things to keep you engaged.
And they just paused the frame too, which I thought was a really interesting choice, because a lot of times you would get more of a still image, so it would like be the car very clear. But in this, they literally just pause it, and so you got motion blur out the wazoo. So the car's just like, whoosh, there's a whole spread, and they just pause it. Yeah. They show you, like, they don't even say, I don't even think they say 4th lap. They just say 4. It just says the number 4 on it, and then you just keep going. Yeah, just I just think they made interesting choices that I like, because they were refreshing and kind of threw me off guard a little bit, not in any significant way, but just enough to kind of make me think about it. Like, that's interesting.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So that was a cool detail.
No, it was cool.
Here's the thing. I love kind of car movies. You haven't seen Ford versus Ferrari, have you?
No, I want to so bad.
That one is very, very good. And, but anyway, this one, they had some really, really nice shots of just the car when it's driving.
Yeah.
A bunch of different cars, but just the shot choices of really, really close-up pieces of the car.
Oh.
Just
and like the internal pieces of the car.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Like the engine's going and you see it, like the pistons coming in and out and stuff. And I was like, that's so cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do that sometimes kind of in like the Fast and Furious movies, but it's just different. And especially in a racing movie that's more like professional racing, one thing that adds to it so much is like the sound. Because almost nothing is better than the close-up of just like the exhaust pipes, and then the roar of a 250 mile an hour car. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just that together feels right. And so I really liked all their shot choices and stuff.
Just feels right.
It just feels right. Makes me warm.
So obviously, is it Jan?
Yeah.
Jan is the one that wins out of the 10 people. And so now that he's won, he has to get his actual license. Yeah. So that he can actually race. And so he's got to go on he's got to win 4th place. He's got 6 races that he has to do, and he just has to win 4th place. In the first race he does, he's in 4th place. You're like, oh man, he's going to win. And then the enemy of the movie, Kappa, comes up and bumps him so that he gets into last place. And so I loved how they showed the first one, they spent some time on it, and then they just kind of like quick shotted to the other ones, and it was like 23rd place and like 10th place. And then my favorite was when it was like DNF, did not finish. Yeah. Well, because... and it's just him crashed.
Again, like, I don't know how much of this is, fully accurate, but you kind of just... When I was watching that, I almost expected him to get 4th on the first race. Yeah. And then when that didn't happen and it was like 23rd and then it was 19th, you're like, oh, he's just going to get better each time. And then it's a did not finish. Totally throws you off and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen?
So good.
And I did.
So good.
I wasn't sure he was going to place in that. You know what I mean? Like, the possibility was still there that, he goes through all these 6 of these races and there's nothing. But then maybe, you know, another team wants to sign him to do this and this. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's still also up in the air. So I think they did a good job at not just kind of giving away what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Have you ever seen Moneyball?
No. Is that Chris Pratt and what's his buckets?
Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not seen that.
I won't say anything.
Okay.
Because you need to watch that. That's one of my all-time favorite movies.
Okay, I'll watch it.
But yeah, it was cool. There were times where I was like, I don't actually know how this ends. Because it doesn't necessarily need to end with him winning the whole thing. It still could have just been like, he did well, and it still proves that he could race from doing Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't know how the story ends. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite parts in the movie is when he's killing it. I don't know, what race is he in? He's in one of the last races or he already qualified and he's just in a race or something. Okay. And he's going on that straightaway and he goes slightly up a hill. Oh. And he's going. It was, and this really happened. I looked it up. It actually happened. Oh, and it was basically just 100% a freak accident with the way the wind was blowing and everything. He's just slightly going up a hill, which they do all the time. And the wind just catches underneath his car and he just launches. Which, first of all, the GTR he is driving is so heavy. So the fact that happened at all is a testament to how freaking fast he was going. But it is like a heart-stopping moment because you're like, killer scene. Because, I just think they nailed every single shot in that because he's driving, and I from my memory, kind of, you see it go up a little, and it's a side shot. Yeah, it's a side shot, and you think right at the beginning of that, you think he's just gonna like kind of jump it, and you're gonna be like, sick, right? Yeah, and then it cuts inside of the car. And you just see what he sees, and you just see sky. Yeah. And you just keep seeing sky. And then I think it pulls back, and the car just like...
And it's showing coming towards you.
Oh, yeah. It shows it coming towards you, and then it hits, and then it shows kind of the side,
and you just see the bottom of the car coming up.
Oh, and it's insane.
It's insane.
And in a world...
And then it shows him in the car crashing and going everywhere.
And he crosses his arms, which is what you're supposed to do to not break all your limbs and everything. And oh my goodness, they did such a good job at that. In a world of really bad CGI car crashes where the physics are just off and you can tell, this one I think really looked good. And I don't know that it was CGI. I'm assuming it was, but at the same time,
I think it was.
It's definitely something you can do practical if you want to, you know? Yeah. But oh my goodness.
It looked super good.
Insane. It looked really good and was just, it hit all the right moments to kind of freak you out as a viewer.
Yeah. And I want to bring that back up in the story. Okay. Because that's one of the moments that I didn't realize what happened in the actual story. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of insane, you know? Okay, so one thing that I wanted to bring up, I think it's the Kappa car. Mm-hmm. He hits him from the side, and or no, I think it just hits into the wall, and his side mirror is broken. It's just like dangling. Yeah. And he's going. It shows a shot of it dangling. It shows another shot of the car coming towards you, and I rewound this, and the mirror is up and fixed. Oh. And then the next one, the mirror is broken and dangling on the side again. Bad editing. I saw it and I was like, wait, hold on. And I reversed it and then I played it again and I paused it. I'm like, the freaking mirror's fixed.
I love and I hate continuity errers. Because they're fun, to catch, but then I get so hyper-focused on them.
Oh, I know.
Like there's a scene... So in Revenge of the Sith, when Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting at the end, and Obi-Wan is pinned down and Anakin's trying to shove the lightsaber like into his neck, from one shot, they're holding Obi-Wan's lightsaber, and then when it cuts down to a different view, they're holding Anakin's lightsaber, and then they cut back and they're holding Obi-Wan's lightsaber. And there's only one lightsaber. The other one has flown across the room. And that has bugged me for my whole life, basically. But yeah, and I think the reason it bugs me so bad is I think that I'm such a like detail-oriented person where especially like that's like kind of the focus of that 5 seconds of the scene where his mirror's broken. Right. I would never let that fly in an editing room.
I know.
Like
that's
at all.
Especially
that's weird today to me. With the internet and stuff, you can pause movies, you can screen record, you can all this kind of stuff. You got to get better at like editing. Just flip the 2 shots or something. I don't know, but
yeah, you could flip the 2 shots, or it was maybe 3 seconds of it coming towards you. Just don't show it.
Yeah, just don't show it. Or freaking
if you don't
CGI
have it with the mirror broken, it was weird.
Yeah, or like zoom in on the other side of the car.
Why have it
in
there?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, only show 1/2 or something.
Yeah, I don't know. That is really interesting. I think that's all my visual stuff for the most part.
Yeah, the only other one that I have is when the Kappa guy crashes.
Oh,
his
the fire
crash looked really good too.
Yeah, that was good. And there was actually another crash.
The fire was a little off.
Yeah, the fire wasn't perfect, but
oh no, that's the other guy. That's the
guy with the rainbow on his car.
That's the one with the fire.
He crashed. Dude, do you know about there's a certain, I don't know what racing this is in, or maybe if it's in all of it. There's a certain type of racing where because of the type of fuel they use, it burns invisible. So people can like crash and light on fire and get out of their cars and literally look like Ricky Bobby. Like not on fire. Like they don't look on fire, but they're completely engulfed in flames. I'm going to have to look it up and I'll show it to you. But it's bizarre. So like you'll know, I mean, they'll get out like they're on fire. I don't know. I don't think they're using it so that it's invisible. I think that's just a coincidence, but it's just worth it because it lets the car run better. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But anyway, that's a little fun fact about some racing stuff. But yeah. So yeah, anyway.
So for the continuity error, I think a couple of the crashes looked pretty dang good. There was a little bit of CGI stuff, but all of the fun little stylized things of the achievements, every time it showed the car passing and it showed what place he's in, or when they just freeze frame and show the lap and place and stuff. All of that stuff looked super cool. And all the inside shots of the cars were awesome. So I'm gonna do a 190 because it all looked really dang good, and all that stuff is pretty minor.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 188. The only things really, I mean, for me, in a movie with so much really good looking practical stuff, when the CGI stands out, I think it stands out a little bit more.
Yeah.
But maybe 188's low, but I'll stay with it. But most of the CGI I think was very good. But when it wasn't, like the fire and stuff like that, it was a little obvious. But like if the majority of the movie had been CGI, maybe I'd feel differently. But yeah, anyway, I think, but still very good. Very
cool.
Good. With some really cool choices and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so the story.
Story. I was anticipating, because this is in like the first 10 or 15 minutes, and maybe it's not 10 or 15, but Orlando Bloom, no, it is technically in the first 10 or 15 minutes, because at the beginning, Orlando Bloom is pitching to Nissan, I have this idea, let's take this game, let's get a bunch, because Nissan's like suffering, right? Their sales are down. So they're like, people don't need cars anymore. So he pitches this idea, and then he's trying to find, because they're like, our only thing is safety. That's our biggest issue. Yeah. So he's like trying to find his chief safety engineer guy. Mm-hmm. He's calling all these people. He gets to the bottom, and he's like, oh, crap, I'm not going to call him. So it's Hopper, and he's talking to him, and I think Hopper says, I think those days are in my rear view, friend. And it was like a little car pun,
Yeah.
That was the only one we got. I was so anticipating because it was in like the first 15 minutes. They were going to just throw in like random like car puns. But I was like, I think those days are in my rear view, friend. What?
Oh, what was I just watching? Oh, I was watching clips from Pawn Stars because I don't know. I accidentally got down that rabbit hole. And every time they talk about like making a deal or not making a deal, they make a pun. And that was exactly what happened here. And I was like, oh, not a fan of the car puns in the serious situation. It's like, but again, Star Wars. It's like when in Rogue One, when Vader chokes that guy, and he's like, "Be careful not to choke on your aspirations." And I'm like, "No, please don't, no." But yeah,
no, they didn't do any more. So
yeah,
sad.
So here's my issue with the story, and again, it's minor because I don't care, and a lot of the stories changed. Obviously, I think this actually took place starting in 2011?
2011, yeah.
Ish. And this, I think, was set super modern day. Because he's talking about people getting in Ubers, and they all have smartphones and all this kind of stuff. And so they set it more modern day. But the only thing really that bugged me about the way it was portrayed was if it is taking place in modern day and the dad's so upset about the kid playing video games, and maybe not in every situation, but the kid really just needs to explain to him, like, I'm like one of the fastest ones in the world, and there are people my age who do this for a living and make millions of dollars, and I could be one of them. And it's hard because I'm sure there are still plenty of parents out there who are like, I don't care, that's not real, because boomers. But it was so over dramatized where he almost hates his kid because he plays video games. It's like that. I don't think that happens that much, especially to the level that it's at,
Yeah.
And so it was really, that part of it, just the way it was written, was very cheesy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're never going to make a name for yourself. And I was a professional soccer player, and now I'm not. And so I work at the railroads because I didn't have a plan. And it's like, okay, boomer, like.
But he was a racer.
yeah, exactly. Like,
it's like.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, fast forward 15 years, 20 years, you've got a teenager who loves video games. He's spending a ton of time on them. What would you allow your kid to do? I mean, would you be totally okay with it? Or would it be like, video games are all right, but like, let's get into real life at this point?
Is he good at it?
I guess I'm not sure if you know if he's good at it.
So if, let's say he's bad at it, is he happy? Does he have good social skills? Does he have does he have an actual job? Because
I don't know.
Like, even a little bit, right? If he's an adult,
maybe he doesn't have a job.
Yeah, but he's got to make money. So if he's making money playing video games, that sounds great. He can be a streamer. He can be whatever. Here's the thing. This is what I was talking. Me and Courtney were talking about this yesterday. So you think about boomers and like us, right? And there's quite a bit, in most cases, there's quite a bit of technological separation where they think, oh, you can't do YouTube for a living. And while it still is like the odds are against you, there's a ton of people who do this now where 20 years ago, that literally was not even a thing, right?
Right.
The gap, if our generation doesn't keep up with modern times, the gap between us when we're 60 and 20-year-olds is going to be far greater. Because you're going to have people building robots with their brains somehow. And if we don't keep up with that, we're going to be like, oh, you can't fly. And they're going to be like, okay, watch me. I literally will go outside and fly right now. You know what I mean? So I think you just got to like pay attention to what's real in life. Because the reality now is that people make millions of dollars playing video games.
Yeah.
And that's
That's pretty
that's
crazy.
fine. Who cares?
I know.
You know? So,
Yeah.
yeah, they can do whatever they want as long as they're not like super mega weirdos. You know? Like,
As long
they
as
can
they
be a
don't
certain
play
type of.
Super.
They can be
As
kind
long
of
as they
weird,
don't play
but-
Super Smash Brothers all day.
No, that's even fine. They just have
Those-
to also be able
those
to hold
people
a
are weird.
conversation. Yeah. Who would stream Super Smash Bros? At Crag on YouTube.
Not me.
Crag-a-ga-ga. Is that how you say it?
Crag-a-ga-ga-ga.
Crag-a-ga-ga?
It's just Crag.
Yeah. Ga-ga-ga-ga-ga. Anyway, okay, after that tangent, drop in the comments below. Would you let your kid be a professional gamer in 20 years?
Oh, man.
Okay, what else do you have?
Okay. When he's talking to his girl and he says, technically it's not a game, it's a racing simulator. Don't be one of those, bro. Don't be one of those.
Don't be one of those? I
Don't be
absolutely
one
think
of
you
those.
should be one of those if it's true.
It is 100% a game. It's a game.
I think there's a difference because let me ask you a question.
The way he has it built, I think it is different.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's
the thing.
still a game.
Is a legitimate flying simulator a game? And if not, what's the difference?
Yeah. Like a flight simulator, like Microsoft has one of the coolest flight simulators
Let's
of all
say
time.
you're at flight school and you're using a flight simulator, but people can also purchase it for enjoyment. Where is the line drawn?
I guess they're
Because
both a game.
I would say the line is drawn at
a
the
simulation
amount.
is still a game.
No, you're right. I would say the line is drawn at legitimacy of the accuracy, right?
Right,
Mortal
right.
Kombat is not a fighting simulator. It is a game. Well,
I
whereas
sometimes have
Wii
punched through
boxing
people and
is a
grabbed their organs
simulator.
out.
Wii boxing is a simulator because that is exactly how you would box in real life.
100% how you would box.
Just this. Just make
And
sure
you're
you bring
bowling.
your nunchuck. Yeah, the bowling. Make sure you really twist.
And you can throw it back at people.
But I just think it's like a fidelity and an accuracy thing can take things from a game to a simulator, especially if, I think it's about point of view and
Right.
the amount that they developed that game to be like as accurate to driving as real life, because they did. And I don't think anybody's ever done the same level as they have. So it is still a game because you can still win, right?
Yeah, I
But
guess
so
that's
is
my thought.
actual racing.
Most simulations are still a game.
So
I don't know.
I just
I guess
think-
I was like, bro, calm down.
this is the only thing I think. I think that it's okay to correct it if they're using game in more of a derogatory sense. Like, oh, you're playing like your silly little game. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's a game, but it's also like a simulator. That's my opinion. Take it or leave
Yeah,
it.
but he's like, technically it's not a game, it's a
yeah, well,
racing
he's a
simulator.
weirdo and has no
Yeah,
game,
well, shut
so
up, dude.
Whatever. He has no Riz.
He's kind of.
He's not a Sigma.
Yeah, do you got notes?
So, Orlando Bloom's character bugged me a lot. Because
Yeah.
literally he starts as the good guy and then he's just the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then he's the good
But
guy
then he's
again, and
not
then
really
he's-
the bad guy.
I don't know. I mean, I guess he's just a marketing douche, which checks out.
They just didn't portray him as a marketing douche. And then when he was like,
know.
hold on, are you sure you want to pick him as the main guy? Because Maddie's way better on the camera. And I was like, what?
I know. And I think
And then
I
he just kind of kept getting
understand.
worse and worse from that.
Yeah, and then at the end they just all hug and it's happy. That was the one
Yeah.
character arc that I was really confused by.
Yeah, me too.
And
100%.
he really, I guess, the whole thing was his idea, but he really wasn't a big character in that movie at all.
No, he wasn't.
He just kind of came up with the idea and then was mostly in the background for all of it.
Yeah.
It was more of a David Harbour, whatever his bucket's name is, story.
Which I was okay with because
Yeah.
David Harbour, I like him a lot.
Yeah, I do too. I think he's really
Yeah.
good. So yeah,
Yeah.
that character arc was the thing I didn't love.
Yeah. Okay. The thing that he says that the G-force is twice what an astronaut feels upon liftoff.
Yeah.
Bro,
Isn't that
that's
crazy?
insane. I didn't
Because you
realize
think-
that.
And I think that might be in the straightaways, but I think it's definitely in turns. Because when you're taking a turn at like 200 miles an hour, well, here's the thing: when you accelerate fully in the fastest Tesla, you experience over a G of force just in a Tesla.
Right.
So I mean, when you're going 250, 275, and you're taking your turns at maybe over 200 miles an hour, that's going to be a lot of pressure on your body.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which I would love to experience. Oh, I want to do that so bad.
That'd be so cool.
Someday I will go 300 miles an hour in a car. Someday. But yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I don't know if I'll be driving the car, but maybe somebody else will. I'm going to think I'd kill myself.
Yeah. So I like what they did. So basically, I'll give a really fast, because I didn't read a lot about it, synopsis of what actually happened in real life with the whole Le Mans situation and the race. Basically, when all of this, like, in the movie, he gets to the point where he's working toward winning Le Mans or racing at Le Mans, which is the craziest.
He has to win Le Mans.
Yeah, it's a 24-hour race. It's a freaking awesome race. I think they do it in Ford versus Ferrari, and it's awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool. It's awesome.
I didn't know about that race. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's incredible. And so and so he's working towards this. He crashes, and he thinks he's not going to do it anymore. He kills a spectator, which is crazy, in his crash.
Yeah.
Not his fault, obviously, but and then he gets the big speech from the coach, and then he ends up doing it, right? In real life, before that all happened, I think he had already won Le Mans.
Oh.
I think he had won it completely, or he had placed or something. So he had already done it. So this doesn't follow, like, the real life story doesn't follow much of this trajectory the movie does. I think he like wins the academy, and then he gets his license, and I think he wins a bunch of stuff and is like has a normal racing career, and then he has this crash. And I don't think he gets talked back into racing. I think he just does it again. I don't think anybody gave him the big movie speech or anything. So I'll have to read up a little bit more about that. But I like the way that they did it in the movie because first of all, it's just better for the movie and better for the plot. But it just feels like it's freaking Remember the Titans, man. Like Gary crashes.
Yeah, I know.
And you need the big speech, you need to win the football game, and you have to do all this kind of stuff. It works for a movie. So I'm glad that they changed it to not make it, because if he had already won it or whatever, there's way less stakes. He can quit and it's fine.
Yeah.
But here it's like you got to prove yourself, and I love when he says that.
And he's winning the hardest thing ever.
Exactly, and I love when he says if you podium at Le Mans, you're invincible. I'm like, that's so cool.
You're immortal.
You're immortal. That's right. You're immortal.
Yeah, because I got to bring that up later on.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything. The one thing that I was a little bit like, about is the Le Mans race. Mm-hmm. So they take the two best from the GT Academy, and they bring him back to race with him. Neither of them have been in an actual race other than the race that they did against each other.
That's true.
And he had to learn all of this stuff about like just the intensity of it and like racing with the other people. And they're just like professionals. I mean, other than, I think it's Antonio, like he starts to crap out at the end. And so it's like, it was cool, but at the same time I was like, but they don't really know how to, I know they know how to drive a car, but they don't really know how to race. I
do wonder if that's what happened in real life. Or
I don't know.
Similar. Because you do have to keep in mind when this Le Mans happened, it was well into his driving career. So I almost wonder if the other two had driving careers at that point.
Probably.
Or if they just
how the movie portrays it, it's not.
As they're just pulling them off basically back out of their bedroom.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. They don't explain that at all. I didn't even think about that.
No, not even a little bit.
I was honestly, here's the thing. I was so worried that one of them was going to crash. Because if your team crashes, you're out. You know what I mean?
You're done, dude.
And so I was like, oh my gosh, they're bringing in these like amateurs and like, what if they crash? What's going to happen? But Yeah. So the only other thing I have is that I would have liked to see more struggle when he's learning to actually drive the cars.
Yeah.
Because there is, I mean, even though, and they discuss this in the movie where the driving, I guess, is the same, but now that you're physically in the car, it's hot, you're experiencing the G-forces, all this different kind of stuff. You have radio, you have all these other things that you're not going to have on your simulator. I would have liked to see maybe a little part of the movie dedicated to really, because I'm sure he struggled with that stuff. Like trying to learn it. It's such a, I mean, you look at the interior of that car and it's like, it's freaking
it's
everything.
Insane.
Yeah.
And they just did a quick thing where they had heaters on them and they were hitting buttons as they came up. And that was like pretty much it. They're like, it's going to be even hotter in the car. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that little montage. I could have used a little bit more of that because it was very interesting. Just stuff I've never really thought about.
Yeah.
Like even just how the cars are built. It's insane that he has that insane of a crash and he's fine. I mean, obviously he went to the hospital, but overall he was fine. That happens in a normal car, you're dead. You know?
So dead. Actually, did you see the car that crashed in Provo recently? That basically looked like that. I will have to show you that video. And people got out of the car and ran off because they were running from the police. It's insane. It's basically it looks the exact same.
Yeah,
it is crazy. But yeah,
that's crazy.
Otherwise you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah. So there were some parts that didn't make a ton of sense. It was fast at the beginning, like you said. It was almost too fast, but I also didn't want him to spend so much time at the beginning, so I was glad for that. But I think some of the character development could have hit even a little bit better towards the end. I mean, I was like, when the dad showed up, I was like, oh, that's nice, But at the same time, it was, over-dramatized dad who hates his son because he likes video games.
Yeah.
But this was also technically, again, I know they portrayed it as modern day, but if you're technically thinking from 2011, playing video games wasn't going to get you popular.
No.
So,
no, for sure.
Probably a little bit more realistic back then.
Yeah.
Even though the way they portrayed it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll do a 170.
Okay.
Because I still thought it was a really good story. It was still very engaging.
Yeah.
Just had some minor potholes.
Yeah.
Little dumb things, but still fun.
For sure. Yeah. I'm going to give it a 172. Kind of same thing. I like the idea of the story, and I do like a lot of the choices that they made changing from the real life events to fit a movie. But then, the over-dramatized dad, and the pacing in some parts and the characters swapping is, being good and bad, kind of. I didn't love, but overall, I did like the movie. So 172.
Even when the mom got upset when they saw him do all those flips and crash, and she got really upset. I'm like, I wanted to feel more from that scene, but all you'd seen of the mom was that she was just very indifferent to everything.
Yeah.
She was just like, I don't want to talk about this. Let's move on. So it was like, okay, maybe a little bit more relationship development there could have made it a little bit more good. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so acting.
Yeah. So here's the deal.
Way too much cologne, dude. Way too much cologne.
Cologne?
Yeah,
dude.
when he's spraying himself.
Oh my gosh. But he's a gamer.
Way too much.
He's a gamer. That
true.
Axe body spray is his savior.
Is saving up for the week that he hasn't showered.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my thing.
Okay.
I think, and honestly, this is how I feel about most movies he's in. I think everybody was really pretty good except for Digimon Honzu, the dad. I have not seen a single movie with him where I was like, that was good acting. It always feels overdone by him, like in an extreme amount. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the pretentious chin beard or what. I have no idea. But every time I see him in a movie, I'm like, you're not doing it for me at all. I don't know why.
So even in Quiet Place too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost especially in Quiet Place. I think he's so expressive and he's so outspoken and he's got this voice. And like, I don't know anybody like that. Not one soul on earth do I know who's even remotely similar to him.
That makes sense. I can see that.
It just feels like a lot all the time.
Yeah.
He's in a superhero movie too. What is it?
Shazam.
Oh, is he Shazam? He's the wizard, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that too. I mean, he was born to overdo it, which is, I mean, it's fine. At least he's not underdoing it, you know?
Yeah. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name?
He's the dude, right?
Yep. He's the dude.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I do, but why can't I picture it? And he's in Rebel Moon, which he overdoes it in Rebel Moon as well.
The guy who says, who? Was the first guy that Star-Lord fights right at the beginning.
It's just, and he's in all these huge movies, and every time I'm just, I don't know. Maybe it's a personal
he's
choice.
in a lot of big movies.
A lot of big movies.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me.
No,
man.
I agree with that. I don't think he's horrible, but I think he's just fine.
Yeah.
I guess he doesn't really horribly distract me.
Okay.
But I totally get he's very expressive, like over the top.
Yeah.
I get that. No.
Yeah.
So, okay, keep going. Sorry.
David Harbour, I love. My only thing is I feel like, here's the thing. He probably is not new on the scene, but I feel like he is. You know what I mean? I feel like he really gained popularity with Stranger Things and then has kind of done more stuff, even though he's a little older. I don't know of anything from earlier in his career, which I'm sure there is stuff, I guess. Well, I guess I think
probably.
Oh, yeah, there is. I mean, he's been acting since.
He's in Brokeback Mountain.
Is he really?
Yeah. I don't know what he's in. He's in Deadpool too.
I'm going to watch that one soon, so I'll let you know.
Okay, sorry, keep going.
No, you're good. So he's got acting credits dating back quite a bit.
Yeah. But Stranger Things really made him popular.
Yeah. And the first thing I'm seeing is 1999. I don't know younger David Harbour in anything. I don't recall seeing him in anything earlier. I'm starting to get worried that he only has one range
persona
of acting. Yeah.
Okay.
Where he can only kind of do grumpy, reluctant hero, coach, father figure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to, not that he did, and this doesn't have anything to do with the movie, right? Because he just did good in this movie. For him, for his sake and for mine, I would like to see him do different stuff.
Right.
And you know what? I'm sure he has, and I'm just uncultured. But at the same time,
I think even in Violent Night, he's technically a father figure, in a way murdering people because they tried to kill a family. So,
because he's reluctant. But yeah, so and then what's his buckets? The kid, which his name is what? Archie. I think he was good. I think he's pretty good.
So, yeah, I will say when he found out that the spectator died and he starts crying, he did that scene very, very well.
Very well, yeah.
Like when the mom cried, fell over the top, didn't feel anything. But when he did it, I was like, oh, dang, okay, you can do some good crying. Because crying is difficult in acting. And he surprised me how well he portrayed his emotions of that spectator dying, that I was like, damn, I feel like for that spectator, you know?
Yeah.
It felt like a much heavier scene than it needed to be in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So my only two people who didn't cut it for me were the dad and then the villain driver.
Yeah.
It's again with those kind of side villains who are always too much like, oh, I'm playing the villain, so I need to make like all the villain facial expressions. It's just like, bruh, no. It's
Can
not
we
real
move
life.
on, please?
It starts to feel like you're in some low budget like superhero movie and you're the bad guy. You know? Can we just not do that? Especially in a movie about racing.
Yeah.
That's not real life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So those are my two gripes. But then I think everyone else was really good.
Honestly, he wasn't in the movie a lot, but Orlando Bloom just felt like he was there, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. But I think he acted it fine. I just think his character was whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess maybe. I don't know. For some reason, it was just like.
Yeah.
It's probably just because of how he was written in, but I was like.
Yeah, and you have.
I guess you're just here.
You have these Legolas, freaking William Turner expectations from this guy, and you just get unbearded British Nissan man. You know, it's a weird transition in life.
Nissan. So what are you going to give acting then?
I was going to go one. Man, I gave it a 189.
Wow.
It's a high or low.
That feels high.
I think everybody else was really good. All the main characters were super good.
Yeah.
There's really only two main characters, so.
Yeah. No, I mean,
stay true to yourself.
The only thing that bugged me about Archie was his voice changed so much. Like he'd have these moments where he had that like kind of deep, dark voice.
Yeah.
And then he had like these really high pitched.
Everything I've seen him in, he's like that.
Really?
Yeah.
But it didn't like it. It's not like it correlated with the scene. It was just like his voice broke and they just didn't redo it.
It's eternal puberty. Literally. I have no idea.
I mean, I feel I have that sometimes.
I guess not eternal though. Yours comes in waves. His is there to stay.
Yeah, I'm just talking like, and then I'm like, what?
I talk in a high voice.
And then I'm like, what's up, dude?
Yeah, you realize that you do it and then you overcorrect. I do that all the time because I'll talk to Winston in my hi buddy, hello, and then I'll realize I'm doing that. And so when I talk to a person, I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm definitely.
Courtney comes home, and you're just like, hey babe, how's it going?
Hey babe, I'm an adult male.
Yeah.
And
then she leaves the room, and you're like, hi, Winnie, how are you?
Yeah, it's a disease. Yeah, what do you got?
I guess for everybody seemed to do well, but I wasn't like the him crying about the spectator was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it just felt fine, I guess. I mean, when David Harper kind of got after him a couple times, it felt good. But portraying being angry or yelling is not super difficult.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, I'm gonna do 179 just because nobody really blew me away other than that one scene that he did. Everybody else was just fine, and they were good. They weren't bad, but not great.
That's a fair take.
Great in any way. So.
Fair take, sir.
Fair take.
Okay, so score. I do have to tell you, I forgot to take notes, and I forgot all of it. So you're gonna have to guide me through this.
The notes that I took: Songbirds by Kenny G.
Oh yeah. Oh, and Enya. I forgot. Okay.
And Enya.
Yeah.
But I was laughing because of in Cars when they play the like gangster mobiles come and they play Songbirds to Mac, and he's like, pretty music. So when it first came on, that's all that I could think about.
Well, I love that. Those are the songs he listens to. Those are the artists he listens to calm himself down. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Good for you.
Dude, who doesn't listen to Enya every once in a while to calm themselves down?
Yeah. When we were when we were in Ireland, standing at the edge of the cliffs of Moher and just looking out at the endless sea and the rainbow and the clouds, we put Enya on. You just have to.
Yes,
It just
dude, that's
it felt like the
perfect.
only appropriate thing to hear. It was either
Only
silence or
appropriate thing to hear.
Enya, and there was nothing else that it
That's
could have been.
amazing.
It was pretty great. So yeah, gotta listen to some
Okay.
Enya.
So you have a movie, okay?
Yes.
And they bring up the word immortals 800 times. Because when you beat Lamaze and you get to the podium and you drink your champagne, you become immortal.
Wait,
and if
Lamaze,
you can beat it,
wait.
Le Mans.
Lamaze is the pregnancy class. Le Mans is the French race. Just have to clarify.
Le Mans.
You do not
Sorry.
beat Lamaze. I believe you graduate. It's different.
Thank you.
Shows how
Sorry.
much we know about racing.
You know I don't.
I
Remember
mean,
everybody
that's
at the beginning of the podcast when I said I wasn't
not
the
very
smartest
smart.
person in the
Got
world?
it.
Yeah. There's a song called Immortals, and it's a fantastic song that also plays in Big Hero 6 by Fall Out Boy. And they didn't play it
That's a mistake.
anytime during the movie. Anytime during the movie.
Shame on them.
They're literally talking about how they can be immortals, and you say it like 800 times and you don't use that song. That song would have been killer for this movie.
Shame. I know your name.
So score, I'm going to give a 2 because of Enya and Songbirds.
2.
And then
And then 0 for everything else.
0, negative 198 for everything else. Yeah, sorry. Keep going.
Well, I was just going to say, well, I don't remember the score very well or at all. The sound design was awesome.
Beautiful.
A good car sound design goes a really, really long way in a racing movie. Because some of them don't have it. They don't have like the it factor of the car. But this one had it, and I really liked it a lot. But yeah, I can't remember the scores in my life.
Most of the score was your typical rapping or hip hop type music.
Oh, I do remember. Oh, it's starting to all come back to me a little bit, and I did like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
Nothing that stood out, but
Yeah.
a fun soundtrack that they didn't use Immortals for.
Sad.
So,
I'm going to give it a 164.
perfect.
What are you
I'll do
gonna
170.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Enya gets that extra 6
Enya.
points in there.
Yeah. All right. What's your vibe, brother?
I'm going to do a 185.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to give
Fun
it a
movie.
194
Nice.
because I really vibed with it for most of it and
yeah.
did not have I didn't have a hard time ignoring the things that I thought were stupid about the story.
Yeah.
Because the racing
Yeah.
was so fun.
It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great.
Okay, so what kind of racing is this?
Okay, so I don't even think I know the technical term. I know what it is.
What's the difference between NASCAR and Formula One?
So NASCAR, all of the cars are basically the exact same, and it's
Right.
just a certain type of car.
Just the circle.
And I'm totally going to misspeak here, and it's just a circle, an oval, technically. You're turning
Right.
straight and you're going left, right? And then Formula One is obviously different cars.
Yeah.
It
And then
is,
like any type of track?
there are in the teens of Formula One tracks, so there's not like a ton of tracks.
Right.
But it is.
But they can be any shape.
Yeah, they can be any shape.
Yeah.
I think they can be any distance.
Okay.
They oftentimes they take place in the middle of a city. Like Vegas, I think just had its first Formula One race last year, and it just went through the strip. So it's kind of crazy. This type of racing is, I don't know what it's called. I'm sure it has a name. But I don't know if I know what it is. And they're different because this is like your race. Because Formula One cars are cars that were built to be Formula One cars. Whereas the cars for this racing is...
Just
I think
kind of...
It's called LMH. Let's see what that means. We're going to learn today. We're going to educate everybody on what kind of racing this is.
And how fast is typical Formula One?
Well, says Le Mans Hypercar Racing. So maybe it is Le Mans Racing. LMP1. I don't know. But it's more like it's cars. You know what I mean? Like NASCAR is NASCAR cars, and Formula One are Formula One cars, and these are almost like...
Most means like whatever.
Kind of whatever modded cars. I think your goal is to make it freaking the fastest thing ever.
Okay.
Whereas NASCAR has tons of limits too.
How fast are you typically going in Formula One?
So Formula One is
it like super like 300 miles an hour, like super fast?
I think it's really high 200s, but I could be wrong. Okay, so the peak speed of F1 is around 233.
Okay.
So it's not high, but I mean it's mid 200s. And then there's Indy cars, which is kind of like Formula One, but not. There's so many different types of racing. There's Formula 2, Formula 3, Formula
I didn't
E.
realize there was.
Yeah, there's rally car driving, there's so much different kind of stuff. So this, I think, is a supercar or a hypercar race.
Okay.
I believe. But again, if somebody's listening to this and is a racing expert, I'm sorry that I'm messing up. But
Thomas will comment.
Yeah. But I like this a lot better than... I know, right? I like this a lot better than like a NASCAR. It's way cooler.
It's just so boring.
Yeah. Formula One, I think, is probably the most exciting.
Yeah.
Because it is... They beat out... if this is Le Mans racing, they beat it out by a little bit with speed and stuff. But I think the cars are cooler in this type of racing. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, what do you think you gave this?
Not 929.
903.
Okay. Here we go. You gave it an 894.
Ooh, only 9 points. Okay.
894. Not bad. Not bad guess. I gave it a... What's it going to be? Who can it be now? 907.
I was closer on yours.
There it is. You were.
Yeah.
So, box office.
Ooh, box office.
This one's tricky for me.
This one's very tricky. On my page, I can see that it had a budget of $60 million, but I do not see the box office.
That's decent.
That's pretty cheap.
That's pretty cheap. Especially
I mean, if it's a lot of practical effects.
For what I feel like they did and the cars that they had, that feels cheap.
Yeah. If it's a lot of practical effects, it makes sense.
Okay, I have my number.
Oh, crap. I don't. Oh.
And I bet I'm going to be spot on. I can tell. I can feel it in my bones.
Man,
this is the one. I have
your number already?
I have it. I know it by heart. Like it was given to me by the gods. Watch me be so far off.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it? Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, 147.
239.
Man, am I going to get so embarrassed by you?
I don't know. Am I going to get so embarrassed by you?
Now I'm scared.
No, dude, you totally won. 122.
No way.
Dang.
Wow.
I don't know if it did. So, and this is what I was going off of. Ford versus Ferrari, 225. And then I knew Need for Speed did 203. So I was like, oh, Need for Speed.
Have you seen Need for Speed?
No.
That one's good too.
Is it good?
Need
Because
for
I heard it was
Speed's
pretty
really
dumb.
fun. It is, but it's fun. It's a good one.
But it's freaking Aaron Paul, so
Yeah. What did you guess?
I wanted to see it.
Two what?
239, I think.
Man, yeah, Need for Speed's really fun. Actually, I like that movie a lot.
So I was like, oh, this probably did decently well.
Yeah, it's like 200s.
Yeah, but I mean,
Ford versus
122 is still
Ferrari.
double their budget.
Yeah. Ford versus Ferrari
So-
is a special movie. That one is...
Yeah, but I didn't hear much about it. I heard
really?
way more about Gran Turismo than I did Ford versus Ferrari.
Ford versus Ferrari was what, 2017, 18?
2019.
Oh, it's 2019. Oh, yeah. I mean,
But
yeah,
you
and
also got
friggin-
Christian Bale and Matt Damon.
That's the thing.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
And John Bernthal.
And John
I didn't know he
Bernthal.
was in it.
Yeah. Ooh.
He's in a lot of random stuff.
He
Okay,
is. He
well,
just like pops up in movies.
W for you.
Thank you. And then, so the Fall Guy
Oh, yeah, I was just
Box
going to look that
office.
up. You got it?
is, yeah, it's sitting at 129 right now, and we are 2 weeks in. Right? Yeah.
3.
3. Oh, wow. Yeah, we're 3 weeks in.
Yeah, because we didn't see it opening week.
You're right.
And what was
You-
our guesses?
You guessed 191, and I guessed 212.
Okay.
I'm kind of seeing you getting the W on this one.
Yeah.
I can't imagine
I
it's
could
gonna
also
double.
see it getting like, yeah. I don't
kinda
think it's going to get, yeah. It for some reason, I don't know what happened. I guess nobody cares about stunt people, which is
I
sad.
guess so. I almost feel like it kind of flopped,
Oh, 100%. They said it was a super flop
which is really surprising.
from their opening weekend because it was supposed to open to 30 to 40 and it only opened to 27. So,
That's a bummer.
yeah.
Oh, well.
A fun movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Gran Turismo is on Netflix,
Yeah.
so if you want to see
Watch it. It's
a
good. I
watch.
recommend it 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good
And the 2.5
watch.
hours just speeds by.
Yes, I love this. That was great. I applaud you, sir. That was
They
wonderful.
really put their pedal to the metal in this movie.
All right, let's switch gears and wrap this up.
Shut up.
Oh my goodness. Boo. You're the worst. Get off the stage. Oh, so good.
Oh, we're going to have to put this in reverse and get out of here.
Who's up this week? Is it me?
No.
Oh.
You did it. Didn't you do it last week?
Maybe. I don't remember.
No. Wait. I did it when we were together, which was Hero. So then you did it last
For
week.
Fall Guy. Okay.
Racing experts are constantly tinkering inside of new tacos. In my eyes.
Oh my word. Racing experts are constantly tinkering in new tacos in my eyes.
Inside of new tacos. I was
that
trying to
is-
think of something racing and I couldn't, so I went to a tacos.
You know what? You're probably not wrong that the racing experts are tinkering with tacos.
They got it.
There has to be at
Dude.
least one or two racing experts that are tinkering with tacos inside
They
of
have to
somebody's
be.
eyes. Just the stats
Yeah.
just show it.
It's got little wheels on the
can't-
tacos.
Oh, yeah. little taco wheels.
Oh,
Thank you,
man.
everybody.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
We're coming up on what I would call movie summer.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've got some movies. We got Inside Out. We got Deadpool. We got Twisters. We got just stuff, man.
Furiosa.
Furiosa.
yeah, we're definitely going to see Inside Out. We'll definitely see Deadpool and Wolverine. Twisters will be fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Dang. It's coming, man. Movies.
Mhm.
Movies are coming. All right,
Yeah.
folks. We'll catch you on the flippity flip.
Catch you in the rear view of life.
Vroom.
Vroom.
Bye.